Okay, this is the posy that we made for the workshop on the 24th of March, and it's a spring posy, as you can see, with some nice bright colours, a real spring-like feel to them. So this is what we're going to make today, and I'm going to show you how to put this together very simply using a spiral binding that I've used here with the stems. Now, before you start, it's a good idea to put your flowers out on the table, as I've done here, and to cut them a little bit more towards similar length, so you don't have any very long stems poking out of your bouquet. And we're going to make a spiral today, and that basically means that we're going to use our materials so that they go in one direction. The stems go around in one direction, and that's to make the flowers stand out and to get the maximum display from them. So best way is to start off with one of the materials, and what I suggest doing, instead of making it upright, is to make it so that it sits almost horizontally on the hand, so that the flowers don't move so much. And we're going to use our thumb really to just hold the flowers in place. Now do this quite gently, because otherwise you will squish the flowers, and also you will get very painful thumb and you'll get pain in your hands. So we start off, and if you do it in order to do the same way, every material that you put into the bouquet, you aim it towards yourself so that the stems go in the right direction. So I'm going to start off with just a few pieces of greenery. Try to keep the greenery so that the greenery sits just below the flowers, so that it's acting like a cushion. I'm going to add an anemone, and if you do it so when you look down you see that the flowers are almost the same height, and try and get them into a dome shape, which is what we need for the posy to look good. So every time I'm going to add some greenery and then a flower. Now you saw me turning the bouquet there, and the way I do that is very simple. Just take your one hand and then take the bouquet and just put it back, turn it and put it back into the hand that you're using to bind. Again, a piece of greenery and a flower, and alternate the flowers so that we get a good mix. So you can turn it as often or as little as you like. Again, a piece of greenery, and you can see that the flowers are now sitting nicely proud of the green below. I'm going to add a little bit of the leather leaf. It's just a nice different texture, and then the tulip, and then let's have a look, another anemone. Twist the bouquet again, and then I'm going to add one of the hyacinths. Now the hyacinths you have to be a little bit careful with, because the stems are a little bit softer and the flowers are a little bit more floppy, so it's always a good idea to put a piece of the salal, because it's nice and strong, just underneath the hyacinth to support it. And you can see that my stems now are going nicely in a spiral, which is what we want, because that way they arch outwards so we can see all the materials clearly. And again, turn the bouquet round and then add more flowers. Like so. So there we have our finished posy. Some greenery underneath, as you can see, just to give a nice collar. And then we take a length of string, and I always like to use a good length. I've got a good meter's worth there, and then I'm going to tie that over the top of my hand, and then I'm going to carry on going round the stems. Just give it a little tug, but not too much, and then you will see that I'm slowly binding down so that the tying point isn't completely in one point. So that almost what I'm doing is I'm giving a bit of a, like almost a collar, like a neck brace, and that allows me not to have to pull the string too tight because of the soft stems that we're using. So once I've gone round a number of times, I'm going to put the bouquet down like so, and then just tie the strings up. And just give that a little tug, gentle tug, and then a nice double knot, and then cut away the extra string. And then I'm going to turn the bouquet upside down so that it finds its own centre of gravity, and I'm going to cut it down. I'm not going to cut it to completely the same length as the hyacinth stems, about an inch longer, but never cut the stems too long, in case the water level in the vase goes down, and then your short stems will not have any water. And then I go along and I try and cut a nice horizontal level on the stems. And that will allow my bouquet to stand up. So, a few ones that are too long here. And you can see that I've cut my stems nice and flat like that. And that will allow my posy to stand up